Hey, hello, dear friends. Phil Johnson Horsemanship. Once again on a wonderful summer day here, a little breezy. As many of you know, I'm starting to put together some training videos for my clients that are a little confined at the moment. We don't have access to one another, but nevertheless, we want you guys to continue your practice and your exercises. And we have several clients with young horses where we're now breaking them, getting ready for the first ride. And what I want to do today, this will be a little bit of a longer video because I'm not going to go home and cut it. I'm going to kind of do a speed training to show the primary steps, exercises, and everything that we want to do in preparation for the first ride. And as I say all the time, as long as we earn every step along the way, by the time we get to our end goal, the problem's already solved, or the horse is already prepared for that final step and that final goal. One of the things that I see most often, one of the main problems that I see most often are people that just skip steps. They're trying to move too quickly throughout the process, and by the time they get to the first ride, it can show some difficulty. So there's a few things we want to make sure that we get done before we even sit down on the horse, and if we do this correctly, it's just going to be a sit down and ride right away. And it doesn't really matter if it takes you 1 day or 1 month. Make sure you're earning each one of these steps along the way. And what we have today is we have Timba, who's now in the process of being broke himself. Usually we'll do all of these exercises with a raw horse in 1-2 days. And so what we'll do is we'll go to try to show the primary exercises and what that exercise should look like by the time you've achieved it, kind of the end of it. Each one of these phases and steps that I'm going through, we could spend a day or an hour or so talking about on a video. But we don't have time for that, but we definitely want you guys to see what the end goal is, what we're trying to achieve. Your horse should be able to do all these steps before you sit down. It's just going to make his life easier or her life easier. It's going to make your life easier. The horse will be confident, he'll be prepared. Most important, he's not going to be confused, and he's going to be ready for that first ride, and we're going to try to avoid any problems that may come along the way. So the first step that we always want to do is establish connection and leadership. And we do that in the round pen, which we're in today. We're going to do that with our join up, and this is where we're going to establish the hierarchy within the relationship. Obviously, we're going to really build the trust and the connection between one another, and we're really going to work on standing still. A good horse would stand still, believe it or not, with a lot of desensitization work, preparation for the saddle. As you can see, I already have the saddle on him, and for those that aren't to that step yet, where the saddle is on the horse, we use the round pen. We do this all freehand as well, and that's a video for another day, but the majority of my clients, we've already got to the saddle portion of our training for these young horses. So what we're going to do is we're going to warm him up with our leadership work, which is going to be join up. Really pay attention to the body language, head down, chewing when we stop, so on and so forth. After we do that, we're going to go through all of our respect exercises, which means foot control in every direction. And I apologize for my English sometime. I've been here in Germany for quite some times, and from time to time I slide into a little German, so I do apologize. So we want to make sure that we have foot control in every direction, forward, sideways, backwards. We want to be able to do our 5-point game. And then after that, we're going to make sure we go through all our desensitization, and most importantly is going to be our double launch. And then after that, we want to make sure we do our flexing. That is going to be your emergency brake. It's going to be a control mechanism for our horse. And of course, we do everything without a bit on the first ride. And then we're going to do a little bit of weight simulation. Let the horse feel what it's like to have someone on top of them. Make sure that they're already prepared and desensitized with movement, weight distribution from one side to the other. And then we're going to start doing some mounting exercises as well. And so hopefully you have the patience and the time to go through these videos. Hopefully you can hear me. It's a little windy out there. I'll try to stop and kind of give some information along the way, and I hope you enjoy. So we're going to start out now with our join up. Timba already knows this exercise, so I'll start him freehand. Make sure we pay attention to my body language, the cues that we give him. And there's two things that I want to do today, freehand, and as we warm him up for our join up. One of them is going to be a leadership exercise where I'm actually going to be pushing him from his backside, basically taking over the role as the lead horse. After that, we're going to be doing what I call the merry-go-round game. Start doing some gait control. Make sure he's going through his walk, his trot, and his gallop. And then after he's well warmed up and he's showing me that he's submissive, Then we're going to do some respect and desensitization exercises with our smart stick and on the line. After we get done with that, we'll prepare him, go through some double lunge exercises with him. The double lunge is extremely important. This is what softens up our horse, teaches him how to work under reins. Here they learn what it is that we take over the control, and obviously they learn the proper coordination and technique, how to move, be collected, always be with the nose in front, such as the C form. One thing that you'll see, we always want to stick to our basic rules, which is C form, eyes on us, ears on us, and as always, a horse is motivated through pressure but learns the release of pressure. So our timing is going to be vital today, and hopefully you enjoyed a little bit. And I guess we'll wake Timba up. He's getting a little relaxed here in the sunshine. So my wife Cora is going to be our film star today, so she'll take a step outside and I'll get to work. Just did that. Sometimes it'll take you a half an hour sometimes on the first time. goal is either licking his lips, some sign of submission, bringing his head down, and of course he's giving us the right tempo, a very relaxed, light drop. A horse gets dropped for about 7 hours without a break. We don't want to push him too hard. We just want our body movement moving forward, that he has the feeling that we're driving him out of the herd. Likely lead horse. We want our belly button on zone 4 at the moment. And once he shows us a submissive body language, we're going to release that pressure, bring him back in, and we'll show him the best place to be is with me, inspire him to make the decision that he wants to work with. Now what we're going to do is a very ground game. My feet are going to stand still. He's just going to support. My hand feel. All I want Tim to do right now is keep his feet moving forward. Starting off on a very easy walk gait. He is a real stud. We're letting some of these, we have 2 mares around him right now. He can work, learn, stay focused. Let the horses around, not give us any issues. Pressure. Once he starts to move for us. Once I send him into the next gate, I want him to stay in that gate. I always want to go more than 2 rounds, not more than 6 rounds. Bring that back to us. Earn the partnership. See that little head? Building blocks to the proper foundation, which is hierarchy, respect, and sensitization, focus, communication, and trust. You need 2 things to be successful with horses. That would be obedience and connection. So these 6 building blocks, I like the tempo. Really paying attention to every step he's taking. Being aware. Go to the next gate, your hand comes up. Give him some pressure because he got preoccupied. Now we're going to let him go. Make the right things easy and the wrong things difficult. So if he wants to get preoccupied with one of those mares, that's when we're going to give a little bit of pepper. That's a good tempo, very submissive. Ooh. Give him a cue. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. So those are the 2 primary freehand exercises we want to warm up with, which is our leadership with our joint up. We're going to be pushing the horse around the round pin until he's submissive. We always want him to turn inside, not outside. After he's doing that well, standing still, then we're going to do the merry-go-round game with him, which we're just going to stand in the middle, let the horse do the walking and the talking. There we really want to work on our verbal cues of stop, what gait he's in. So now what we're going to do is work on our respect. Now that we worked on our hierarchy, a lot of people might be wondering what's the difference between leader or hierarchy and respect. Just like human beings, there's 4 levels that we work on. The mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. Mental is to learn, emotional is to love, physical is to live, and spiritual is to leave a legacy. So the hierarchy level, that's the mental level. That's where it says in his head, in his brain, you're the boss. Just like in the work organizations, you might have a boss. And from a hierarchy perspective, you kind of have to do what he says. But there's a good possibility that you think he's a dick. You don't like him very much. You don't have a lot of respect for him. So we want to work on that emotional level just as much. And the way we do that is through foot control. And here, timing is vital. Okay? You have to be very dependable, that your horse understands that you're going to ask for everything and make sure that you're consequent enough to push it through. But the moment he's going to work for you, you're going to release that pressure and you make everything as easy as possible. So, as always, whatever tool we're working with, we're going to desensitize our horse, and we're going to be very, very clear about our communication. As you can see right now, Timba's not taking a foot, step any direction. Let me touch him all over. He's extremely confident, well desensitized. So, we're going to back him out of our bubble a little bit here. And we're going to start with what we call the C-form exercise. Very important, by any of these line exercise, the horse takes the first step. So the hand's going to come up. That's our cue that he's going to move forward. Okay? Now, what we want now is a wonderful C-form. That means the shoulders are going to be a little bit out, the nose is going to be inside. I'm going to place my belly button in zone 3 here. At the moment, my line's a little bit shorter, and my feet are going forward. That's going to give him the cue to keep those shoulders out, that nose inside, and give me the ability to make my circle a little bit bigger. Okay? That's all we want. So now you can see he's very collected here. He has his weight on his hind end, the nose on the inside, shoulders on the outside, so he's moving on the proper lead. Very important for us. We always do more than 2 rounds, not more than 6 rounds. And then we're going to stop him with the method game, which we're going to bring our hand to our belly button, head down. Really look for a good back step. Back him up. Good. Stand up. Now, any idiot can drive a horse fast. That's kind of the easiest thing to do. The real master, the guy that really knows his stuff, has the ability to teach a horse to be calm and controlled. Anybody can do the big things, but the artist, the real horseman, they look at the small things, the details. That's what we're looking at now. You can see here, he's making a wonderful controlled step, beautiful C-form, it's collected, there's no pressure on it. All I'm doing is using my belly button right now to tell his body what I want him to do. Now this is vital for us when we get into the double launch. When we get into the double launch, we use our body language to kind of help coach our horse of what we want the first time we start using those reins. Okay? After I've done 3 rounds on both sides, we're going to start the desensitization work with him in movement. Okay? Make sure we have our C-form going through all our zones. When I start to do my desensitization game, I start to work on my foot control. Okay? So I start doing some side passes with him. Good. Lean forward. A little Pokemon with him. Good. You never give the horse pressure if he's doing the right thing. As long as he takes the steps he's supposed to, maintain your cue, but don't give him unnecessary pressure. That makes no sense. It's counterproductive. I see it all the time, especially in the saddle. You ask your horse for a spin, the horse is given the proper movement, but you're still jamming your foot with the pressure. Good. Now we got forwards, backwards, sideways. Good. Then we get flex with us. Good. Now we're going to give him a little bit more line and start doing a little jump line. What I want him to do with the jump line is sit on that hind end, roll those shoulders over the top like a spin or a rollback. This is one of my favorite Next one we're going to do is our, what I call the fishing game. Want to make sure that we can go straight forward, straight back. Get our horse sit down backwards, so biting of course. Backwards is always one of the best respect exercises you can do with your horse. Good. Now we're going to go to our method game and our squeeze game. So I'm not going to do too much. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find a piece of fence. Start 3-4 meters away. Make sure our communication's clear. Our belly button's always going to be facing the fence. Hand to your belly button, head down, and drive zone 4. You get a good step. Start getting a little lazy. On this exercise, we're not pulling the horse to us. What we're doing is we're pushing zone 4. We're pushing those hips around. And remember, everything comes from the hips. That's your gas pedal, your brakes, your steering wheel. No hip control, you got nothing. And every time I do this, I'm just going to come a little closer and a little closer to whatever I'm working with. It's squeezing him and building his confidence between me and whatever's there. Horses, from instinct, they don't like confined spaces so much. So what we want to do is really build those confidence with him and always do the opposite of what your horse wants. Especially in these young ages, they'll learn something new and they'll start thinking in advance, making decisions on their own, and it's meant to be good from their side, but then you have chaos between the rider and the horse because the horse is thinking you should do one thing and you want to do another. So, you know, the best little rule to do at the beginning that your horses don't start working in patterns is just always do the opposite. Good. So that's hip control. So what we've done, we went forwards, we went backwards, we just worked zone 4. Now we're going to work on our spin. Our spin is what we call my space. This is my space. Our cue is going to be in 1 and 2 with our hands. So when we're in saddle and we want to spin, it's the same thing with our reins. It's going to be sitting in 1, 2. So we're going to go 1, 2. I'm going to go through my horse. I want him to sit on that back end and just nice step over. Good boy. Do that one time on each side for you. So 1, 2. My space. Sit down. Good. Overstep. Release that pressure. Come away. Good boy. Bring him in. Now, of course, you could close your respect exercises if you want with the merry-go-round game. So you're going to stand in the middle and you're going to use the hand with the line. It's going to tell the horse what to do. Make sure you maintain that seat form, nose inside. Anytime I want my horse to move his feet forwards, I'm not going to pull him. I'm going to use my string or stick. Up. Go through all my gates with him. Good boy. Make sure he's running collected, hand down. Tempo. I want him to maintain that gait. Good boy. To look like when you've done it right. And all I'm doing now is I'm preparing him to ride. I'm working in his mind. I'm working with timing, not strength. That's a good tempo. Good transfer as well, nice and smooth. games that you should also make sure we play is the Pokemon game. Pokemon game, we're going to take our stick here, zone 3 for example, tap, 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 give it a 9 pass. Good. Go. Make sure when you do the Pokemon game, always rub the horse first. You don't want him to figure it out. So right now, he knows, hey, I'm not supposed to do anything, but once you give him very specific pressure, that's when you want him to move the feet. And here's the trick, or here's kind of the thing. In everything we want to do, we want to maintain balance, right? You want to be assertive, but at the same time cool. You want your horse to be extremely well desensitized, right? But you want him to be sensitive, or soft, rather, when you give him a very purposed pressure that he's supposed to do something. And he needs to know the difference between those things. As long as he's not confused, things are going to go a lot better. A lot of the problems we see is people understand the core issue. For example, if a horse is confused, he's going to get afraid. If he's afraid, he's going to fight or he's going to flight. So what do we work on? The fighting or flighting? No. Do we work on the fear? No. What we do is we make things black and white, no gray areas. If a horse lacks confidence, for example, he's going to get afraid. If he's afraid, he's going to fight or he's going to flight, right? So what do? Do we work on the fight or flight? No, we don't. Do we work on the fear? No, we don't. We build his confidence. So one thing we want to make sure we're always doing is understanding what the core elements are. And once we solve the core problem, everything else is going to go away on its own. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our horse for the double launch. Usually we do this exercise without a saddle. Can you give me that long line there, please? I prefer to work with a 7-meter communication line. As you see, it's well used. I'm just going to go through a few of the exercises that you want to make sure that you can do with your horse so that he understands what it means when we finally put the double lunge on him, which is basically going to simulate, what the reins are telling him. So a good horse can stand still, and the whole time you want to make sure you give your horse plenty of time. I'm kind of zooming through all these exercises for this video, but a horse needs about 90 seconds to digest a thought, something that he's learned. So every time we take a break, what we want to do is confirm the partnership and the friendship. We want to give him about 90 seconds to digest what he just learned, let it sink in. And anytime I start working with my horse with a new tool, whether it's a lasso, a smart stick, long line, we're going to desensitize him, let him smell it, introduce him, build his confidence, and understand our tools are not going to hurt him. He may have to have respect for it, but he shouldn't be afraid of it. Very important for us. Okay? We want to be able to make sure we can throw that everywhere, and we want to make sure that we're making standing still by you a great place. One thing that we work on when we're doing our join up and our freehand is that he understands the body language, which means if I'm standing directly in front of my horse as of now, or 45 degrees from his shoulder or directly on him, he should stand still. Okay? That's what he understands. Now, everything has to do with my belly button. Now, if I bring my belly button around to zone 4, he's going to start moving his feet. Up, up. No longer standing still. Up. Come on, let's go all the way. Don't get lazy. You're a little lazy on me. If I put my belly button now in zone 2, 1. Up. Let's go. You're going to move those shoulders now. Belly button in zone 3. Go sideways. Belly button in zone 4. Forward. Hips, hips, hips. Good step. Okay? If I get behind him in zone 5, we're going to start moving forward. Okay? So everything we have to do has to do with what your body language says. So, getting back to our preparation for the double launch. Obviously, we did some desensitization work. Now, one of the exercises that I do a lot when I'm preparing my horse for the double launch is also teach them to put a halter on. So what I do is I hang my line here, get to do the Pokemon game, bring his head down, so that I can slide this over the top like I'm putting my halter on it. This is especially important for big horses, tall horses. Now, one good thing to do is if you take your hand and you slide it and then ask him, when he does what you've asked, you bring your hand back here again. And if you continually repeat that, the Kapashki conditioning, the way horses learn, is going to kick in. And that means as soon as you put your hand here, they're going to start bringing their head down because he knows what the end result of that is. And if you got a really big jump horse, or doesn't matter what type of horse, as long as he's tall, sometimes it's really hard to reach on top of their head. So what you want to be able to do is just tap him here and that head comes down. And in the long run, when we're sitting in the saddle, if we just give him a tap here, that head's going to come down on its own. Okay? So the one exercise that we want to do is just preparing him for double launch. So what I'm going to do is I want him to stand still here. Okay? I'm going to just line on the hand in. I want the nose to go first. I'm just going to pull him around. Okay? I do everything in threes. Okay? Once again, then go down. Good. Flip that over. Hold it here. He kind of knows the exercise, and I don't want him to move, so I'm just going to keep it there so he stands still. What I don't want to do on this section move, there he's trying to move, is I'm not going to pull my line. I'm going to tap it. So tap, 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 tap. We always tap, whether we're riding, we're working with our stick, giving any type of pressure. If you pull, the horse could give resistance to that pull. If we tap, we're motivating him to work with this. He can't give resistance, and then we reward him for the decision that he makes to do the right thing. So everything we do, we're going to do on both sides. This is also desensitizing. We're preparing him. There's going to be a line on that back side of him. See there, he's starting to move, so I'm going to stay with him. I'll just keep moving until he stops. Once he stops, I'll release the pressure. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Bring him around. I would like a little bit more forward movement out of him. Get a little lazy. And little things matter, right? You see how his feet are? Make sure once we stop him, he stands still. Those two together. One more time. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Now what we've done is on one side, each side, we've given him the sensation of what everything means once I have those two lunges on him. He's also confident, he's not scared if something's behind him or on him. Now, before I go straight to the double lunge, this is one of the reasons I work with the 7-meter line, is I'm going to prepare him now a little bit for what it's going to feel like if a rider's on top of him. I want to desensitize him from sound, from movement, from weight distribution from one side to the other. So I'm going to do this with, 2 lines if you prefer. I do it with my 7-meter. I also do this with my lasso because it has a little bit more whip in it, a little bit more air sound. We're going to bring him forward, okay? What we're going to start doing now, we're just going to start swinging this here. Making noise, making sure he can kind of sense some movement. Good. As long as he's going nice and easy for me, I'm going to release the pressure. If he starts to get kind of spooky or skittish, I'm just going to keep doing it until he relaxes himself. You always want to let the horse kind of take care of the problem on their own. Time is vital. Now I'm going to do weight simulation. So I'm going to pull that saddle. So I'm going to give him the feeling that somebody's riding him. Okay? Pull that saddle. Good. Not too much. Just enough that the horse kind of feels the saddle moving from one side to the other. So the first time you're on that saddle, in that weight's on him, he doesn't freak out because there's movement up there. Good. That's nice. Up. Take our time now. Some exercises here over the top. Good. Everything we do on both sides, right? So, other side, C-form. That saddle will pull. Whip movement. That's good. Side passing. Close to my space. Personal space is vital to establish respect. Okay? Horse is never allowed to come come into your space without invitation. He wants to start crowding you. Make sure you push him out. And this is vital for so many other exercises. When a hard-on-hard comes, that horse is going to have to decide. Do I run over the water? Do I run over the bridge? Do I run over that obstacle? Or do I run over the person? It's courage that he gets to go over an obstacle that he maybe is a little skeptical of is going to come through the respect that he has for you. That respect that the horse has for you is going to give you the courage to take the first step over something else that he may not usually want to do. So these are kind of the basic exercises that we want to have done before we start the double launch, right? So we did the single hand game, we did the weight simulations, desensitization. Of course, we have to make sure that our flexing is done. I like to be flexing with my saddle on in case my horse is low. So then tap, 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 tap. I'm going to wait, boom. Right there when he makes the decision to work with me, that's when I release my pressure. Tap, 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 boom. Release that pressure. Good. Other side, same thing. Tap, 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 wake up. Tap, 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 good. Release that pressure. Tap, tap. And there's, several other minute things, small things, other exercises that we can be doing in between. But I'm kind of giving you guys like a crash course of the primary things we want to have done. Now we're going to get into, of course, double launch part. Come through. Get softer and not softer. Now, I prefer to do this with either a nice fitted stall hofter, a side pole, even a hackamore will do the trick. You don't want to have a bit in there. You don't want to have anything that's hard on the nose, especially for these young horses that might be giving some assistance, bucking. It's also okay. So we're just going to use a regular stall hofter here that fits his head quite well. The main thing that I want is I don't want a lot of movement back and forth. I don't want it to rub. So I'm not going to be pulling a lot. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be working with tap and release. Just like everything we do, we're going to make the right thing very easy for him, the wrong thing very difficult. But I always say it's taps or it's nothing. Taps or nothing. So, very important here, saddle on, make sure that we tighten up our stirrups. That's going to be holding your long line in there. Make a good connection. Make sure we're rewarding him and giving him plenty of time. Because the next one, this first one we're going to do is just take it all the way through. Lay it on that back side. So, also when we're riding, it's very important. Horses are clever, like I've said earlier. They kind of think in steps. You can do the same thing over and over again. You do step one, step two. The fourth, the fifth time, they're going to start thinking in advance. And while you're still in step one, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to be in step two, which means you see horses taking off before you're sitting in the saddle. So what we do is we get in the saddle, we do our flexing, stand still, exercises, we soften him. That also switches him over to the left side of the brain, the thinking side, shows that we have control and make sure that we have focus. And then, after that's successful, we ask him to move forward. Now, if you just get on and say go, what's going to happen on the third or fourth time, by the time you get before you're in the saddle, he's already moving. It's the same thing when you're doing your double launch work. A good horse can stand still. So, make sure he's going to be waiting specifically for your cues. And what's vital here is to get a soft horse. We don't want our horses thinking that they can run through their reins, they can run through their bits. We want them soft to the touch, that they're working with us, that they understand what everything means. So you'll see me doing a lot of work today that he's not trying to use any of his strength against us. And the good thing about the double launch is anytime he tries to work against us, it makes it a little uncomfortable with pressure. And as long as he works with us, he has a release of pressure. So we make it very comfortable for him. start more on the side versus directly behind him. The reason being is the first time they might want to spin all the way inside, get back in a joint up, and then they're going to twist themselves up. So my belly button is going to be in zone 3 so I can get a C-form. It's also going to block him from turning too much. And the only thing you really want him to do on the beginning is just move forward, okay? Very important is this line here needs to be extremely loose. Give him a click. I'm going to tap, tap. Good. I'm going to hold that hand up, so that the outside rein is loose. There should be no pressure here, okay? Focus is on, I'm going to tap it. All I'm going to do is ask him for his C-form, okay? So my belly button, even though I'm a little bit behind him, he's going to be pointing there on the shoulder, and I'm going to tell him to stay collected, keep that C-form, I want that nose inside, do a nice circle for him. Opposite. He says he wants to go left, I'm going to go right. He wants to go right, I'm going to go left. Until he really starts to listen to what I'm asking of him. Now he's hanging that head a little bit too far down, so the weight's going on the shoulders. I want that weight on the back here. Good. Good. Now we're going to switch, so we're just going to let that run through our hands. Loosen it up. Good. C-form on this side. I always start out with the C-form, make sure that that kick is nice and soft, that he's leading his gang with his nose. Good. Once we did it a few times, we're just going to start doing a little slalom work. Just keeping him in forward movement for him. Tap, tap, good. Once he works with me, let it go. Good. Once my horse is moving forward quite well, I'm trying to turn as much inside. I'm going to move more behind him. I'm just going to go tap, hold my rein until he follows it. Good. Let him go. Other side. So hold my rein. That's it. Until he follows it, let it go. So all of my horses have been trained when they're confused, they're nervous, they're not sure what they're supposed to do, they stand still. This is another video for another time. So if you see him stand still, it's just because he's not quite sure what it is that I want from him, and that's always the safe practice. Because his instinct, when he's not sure or he's a little nervous, is to flight. That's not something that's very productive. Trying to ride your horse. So right there, you see he's trying to stop a little bit too much, which is good. He's quite soft. Quit working here until he starts to really streamly transition from right to left. Up. That's good. One thing that I also like to do is make sure I'm working with my verbal cues a lot before I execute it with my rein. So I'm going to say, ooh. Double rein, he stops. Go directly behind him and let him stand still. Head straight, focus. Now I'm just going to tap, 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 tap. Good boy, good. Ooh. Ask him to bring that nose down. Tap, 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 tap. Good, there it is. Now you can do this all day with so many different things. This is kind of our first step. Yeah, you see the primary decision that he needs to make. His default setting is a very slow, relaxed, controlled walk. That's always the right thing for him to do unless I ask for something very specific from him. If I ask him to go faster, very specifically, that's okay. But other than that, I want him to be safe, calm, and controlled. Up. So we're going to do one last exercise that you need to make sure that you've done before you start riding the first time. So we did all of our round pin work. Established the joint up, connection, trust, hierarchy. We did our long line work where we did foot control in every direction. C-form game, jump launch game, merry-go-round game, side pass, spin, so on and so forth. We did our flexing, we prepared him properly, desensitized him, did our double launch. That makes sense. The last step is obviously to prepare him, build his confidence, and somebody gets up on top of this saddle. And what's very important is the first time. And he needs to understand the number one thing for him to do is stand still. There's nothing more important than standing still for us when it comes to the first ride. Stand still and flex. And flexing, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot flex your horse on that first ride, you may have some issues. That's how you're going to teach him how to stand still. Stop. A horse cannot buck, jump, steig, do any of those stupid things that horses do from time to time if they're in a flexing position. So the last thing here today to close up this video, take something you can stand on. Alright? In my case, just the standard step. Good. We're going to have a lot of fun, build some trust. Now, if it's the first time your horse has ever seen one of these things, the first thing you want to do is introduce it to him. When he smells it, take it away from him. Every time you take it away, you're going to stimulate the curiosity, build his confidence, teach him to be courageous and look at things. If a horse can bring his nose and his head on top of something, then he can take care of the problem on his own, and there's a 99% chance that the feet will follow. Now, I do double launch as well with tires. We'll hang tires on the saddle and double launch. We'll do a lot of other exercises to put some light weight on him. And I like using the tires because it also gives him the feeling that there's legs on him. So there's several other steps that we can do, but these are the primary steps. So what we want to do is build his confidence and teach him to stand still, and that nobody's going to hurt him, and that you're always going to come away from it. You're going to get down. So I'm just going to do this with the lead rope today. I'm just going to come up, and the first thing to do is not get on the horse. Just start rubbing it everywhere. Give him a nice rub here, a nice rub there. Okay, tap the saddle a little bit. That's a good boy. Good boy. Most importantly is when he's very calm and relaxed, get down and come away from him again. It's a good boy. That's a good horse. That's a good horse. Okay, make it a game. Especially these young horses. They love to play. If you don't make it a game, they'll make it a game on their own. I can't say it enough. Release some pressure. Bringing your energy away is how a horse learns. Time and time and time. This time I'm going to put a little pressure on him. And I'm going to start putting my hands over him. Okay? My pads everywhere. Okay? Good. Good horse. Now if your horse is moving or his head's up, he's still tense, you just keep repeating these steps until he starts to relax. If he sees that you keep coming away every time he does something good, he's starting to get confidence, he'll start to get desensitized, he'll start to trust you, you'll start getting a connection there. And the next step that I want to do is I want to take both hands, I want to put weight on the horse. My hands basically represent my feet. Okay, now I hold my horse, I drive him. Tapping and driving everywhere. Good boy. And once he stands still, I'm going to come away again, okay? So I'm already teaching him what he needs to do for me to leave, to get off of him. The last thing that you want to do before you take that first ride or that first step, you have that, you're just going to put your foot on here, you're just going to put some pressure on the saddle. Pressure on the saddle. Good. Great job. Come away. Ooh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. Good horse. Good horse. This is the time. Saddle. Good. Good horse. Ooh. Good horse. So, all in all, those are our primary steps in preparation for that first ride. There's a few other games that I suggest that you guys play or do as well. Preparation for the first ride. One of them is what I call the belly button game. These are kind of some side notes, exercises we want to make sure we get done in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to work only with our grip side here. Okay, we're really going to work with our stick and pressure. So once I turn my belly button forward, I want my horse to move forward. Okay, I'll lay my stick here, start tapping, start rubbing everywhere. Okay, now as long as my belly button's forward, it's going to tell him he should be moving forward. If I go into zone 3, tap on zone 1. Good. Forward with the belly button, forward. Side pass. Spin. Forward. Okay. Everywhere. Put some pressure on the saddle. Okay. Let it feel that pressure on the saddle. Really get that horse confident, desensitized to all these movements. Clear what it's supposed to do with this. You always want to make sure he keeps the distance from his stick. Don't let him run over the top of you. Belly button is forward, he's going forwards. Belly button's on zone 3, we're going zone 3. Forwards. Good. Put some weight, put some movement, put some noise. Zone 4. Up, let's go. Good. Get lazy on me. Good boy. And as our final today to have a little fun, the strongest connection that you're ever going to have with your horse is a mental and emotional connection. It's stronger than any lead rope or anything else you're going to have. So if you've done your job right, done your round pin work, your respect work, your double lunge work, you followed your rules, you had good timing, you built that trust and communication with your horse is going to want to be with you and he's going to want to work with you. So as a final thing today, we're going to show off a little bit. We're going to stand in zone 2, we start moving forward. What we want our horse to do here is just mirror us a little bit. Run it. That's it. Good. So, hope everybody learned a little something. If there's any specific questions, let me know. Hopefully we'll be seeing you soon in the next few weeks. That's it. Happy trails. Enjoy the summertime. I'm out.